Hi, this is Marloomz Creations, and today I'm going to show you how to create these hermit crabs on your loom. And this is done on a single loom. We just have to make the pieces and then we attach them in the end. So you're going to choose the color of your shell that you want your hermit crab to be. And you can choose the more natural shell or you can choose a color. And for the shell, you're going to need 158 bands, and for the claw and the legs and the face all together, it's 95. So for the limbs, it's 95 bands, and for the shell, it's 158. So I'm going to begin by showing you how to make the claw and the limbs, and then we will work on the shell. You will also need, if you have, 2 beads, and I will show you for the eyes. And if you don't have beads, then you can just use bands, but these are the size that I'm using. They're tiny. And so the first thing we're going to do is make the hermit crab's legs. So you're going to choose the color that you want your hermit crab's legs to be. And I'm going to choose these glitter bands, and I made 2 already. And then I'm going to choose a different color for the joint right here in the middle. And over here I did a different color joint as well. So choose that as well. So I will show you, you can do this on the loom or on your hook. So for the legs, and all the legs are the same, you're going to need 2 bands. You're going to make 4 legs at a time, and you're going to place 2 bands here, followed by 3 bands. So you might not be able to see this because this is a color that matches my table. So there's 2, then there's 3 bands. Then you're going to choose the color of the joint, and you're going to take a single band and you're going to wrap it around itself and place it on these 2. So far there are 2 bands, 3 bands, a single band wrapped around itself, then another 3 bands, so another 3 on here, and then another 3. And now the last one is a single band wrapped around itself and then with a cap. You can do that on here, but I will tell you that when it's done on the loom, the cap band comes really weird. It gets pulled, but I will show you on the loom anyway. So for the last 2, it's a single wrapped around itself of the color of your leg, and then a cap band. A single band wrapped around this peg 4 times. So now I'm going to loop it to show you that you can do it this way, but I prefer to do mine on the hook. And then you're just going to reach underneath and loop everything forward. You're going to need 4 legs. So I pre-made 2 so that I don't have to sit here and make 4 altogether. And then pull them off slowly. So you can leave, it's not too bad, but the cap band gets pulled, so you can just adjust it if you want and pull on it to make it even. So we're going to do that again. We're going to take 2 bands, place it on our loom, on our hook, pegs, and then 3. So the first set is 2 bands. Now you're switching to 3. Then you're switching to the joint color. It's a single color wrapped around itself. And just to give you an example, here are 3 different legs. So you can do like a light pink, and the joint could be a dark pink. These are earth tone, this is light blue, and dark blue. And these are glitter bands too. They make cute legs. So we did 2, 3, the joint. Now 3 bands on these 3, and then another 3 bands on these, and then a single wrapped around itself on this one, and then another single wrapped around this peg 4 times. And then you push the cap bands back and you just loop forward. Now, if you have a spare hook, you can put all these pieces on your spare. So I'm just going to grab my spare. And so this is what you should have. So you're going to make 4 of those. And I'm just going to place mine on the spare. And now the next step is we're going to make the large claw and the small claw. Hermit crabs have like one large one and one tiny one. So let's do that. So you're gonna grab 2 bands, and this is gonna be the large claw. You're gonna grab 2 bands and place it on these 2 right here. Then you're gonna grab a single band and you're gonna wrap it around itself and place it on these 2 from here to here. And then another single band wrapped around itself, place it on these 2. Then take a single and wrap it around this 4 times. Then grab 2 bands and place it on these 2. So this is the one that we placed first, and place 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. And then grab a single band and wrap it around this peg 4 times. So that is your large claw. And now we're going to make the little one underneath that. So for the little one, you're going to take 2 bands and place it, and you can place it, make sure they're not connected to the large claw, so place it on 2 separate pegs. And then take a single, wrap it around itself, and you are placing that underneath it. So these were the 2 bands. This is a single wrapped around itself. So another another single. Take it and wrap it around itself, so it's a cap. And you're going to place that from here to here. From here to here. And then another single wrapped around itself, and you're going to place that from here to here. So that's a cap, that's a cap. Take a single band and wrap it around this peg 4 times. Now back to this one right here. Take another single, wrap it around itself, and place it on here. Another single, wrap it around itself. So we put the single wrapped around itself on these 2, then the other single wrapped around itself on these 2. And then you're going to cap it off with a single band wrapped around itself 4 times. So then we can loop that. And we're going to loop this side first. You're going to reach in under the cap, and you're going to bring this one forward, and then this one to this middle peg right here. Then you're going to reach in here, grab that bottom 2, or that single band that's wrapped around itself, loop these, push these back, bring this forward, and bring this one forward. And now we're going to loop the big claw, so we're going to start over here, reach in under the cap, bring these 2 to this peg right here, bring these 2 to this peg, reach in here, push the cap back, and bring those 2 forward, these 2 forward, these 2, push these bands back, grab the bottom 2, and loop forward. So now I'm going to use my hook, and I'm going to take it off slowly so that I don't stretch it. So this is the larger of the claw, and just adjust the bands. And then this is the smaller claw. And these are capped bands. And I do like the way they come out a lot better when they are made on my hook. And if you feel like the cap band is loose, like there's a band that's loose, you can take your hook and go through all the cap bands and pull. And that'll try to even them out. But for the meantime, this will do. This is fine. So now we have done the limbs, the little legs, and the claw. So we're going to start with the body, the shell of the hermit crab. And now for this part, for the shell, this is where you get to decorate. The top part is what we're making first. So you have the choice of mixing in some different colors. I'm going to be using just brown bands. And then if I feel like I can add like little white, I can do that to make it more like a natural shell. Like this one. Except I'm going to be using all brown and then adding some white. So this is where you can add the little color. So I'm just going to show you that. So for the shell, you're going to start off with 3 bands first and place 3 bands here. And then you are going to place 2 here and 2 here. And let me grab my white. I forgot to take them out. And so if I feel like it, I can grab a brown and a white and place it here. And then the next 2 can just be brown. And we're going to go down this row 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each row. And I'm just going to alternate. Every other one I'm going to add a white band. And these are 2 bands per peg. So I did 2, 2, 2, but this one I just added a white. So I did 5 here, and then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to put 2 brown, a brown and a white. And then for the middle, you're going to do the same thing. Just going to alternate. Just going to make 1 extra. So for the middle, you're going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but the sides are 5. And then you're going to grab 2 more bands and you're going to close that up. And just make sure you're using 2 bands at a time. So this is what you should have so far. And once you have that, you can take a single band, and on this last peg, wrap a single band around 3 times. And now we're going to add another layer. Take 2 bands and place 2 here, 2 here, and again I'm doing the same pattern. I'm doing 2 brown, 1 brown and a white, just alternating. There's no right or wrong pattern. You can just do as you please. And then again a layer on this side. So we added a top layer to this side. You're going to do it to this side as well. So we added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the top, and on this side 5 on the top as well. And now we're going to take a single band and we're going to wrap it around 3 times on this peg and 3 times on this peg. Then you're going to take a single and you're going to place a single band from here to here. And a single band from here to here. And the same thing, push your bands down on this side. So we put a single from here to there and a single from here to here. Here to here, and here to here. Here to here, and here to here. And then actually remove those. Let's see. You can remove the cap band and place the triangle band first. So place those 2 triangle bands and then you can do the cap band. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. So we're going to reach in. So you should have placed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 triangle bands, but they're using 2 bands instead of 1. And you're going to reach in now on this one where the cap band is, and you're going to be pushing back the triangle band and the cap band and grabbing the very top 2 bands. So make sure you are grabbing just your top 2, and you're going to loop that forward. And then you're going to reach in here where the triangle band is, push that back, grab only these top 2, which is grabbing the top 2 bands here and here. Reach in, grab the top 2, and loop forward. Same thing here, top 2, loop forward, top 2, loop forward, top 2, and loop forward. And the same thing here, we're going to reach in where the cap band is and the triangle band you're pushing back, and grab the top 2 bands and loop that forward. Same thing here, loop these forward and loop these forward and these and these. So you should have looped everything forward, just the top row, and you should have remaining bottom row. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you don't remove these or these. So you're not touching the bottom bands and you're not touching the top. You're starting at the second one, and if you want you can place your thumb on this peg to make sure that those don't pop off. Take your finger and you're popping these over to the side. And make sure that the band stays on the peg, the triangle band. So you're going to pop these up and make sure they stay on the band, on the hook I mean. I don't even know what I'm saying, on the peg. And then this is the last one. So you popped off 1, 2, 3, and you're popping off this one. But don't touch this one and don't touch this one. So you're going to do the same thing on this side. Don't remove the top. Remove the second one and place it on the outside. The same on this one. So I've popped off 1, 2, 3, 4, and you are not touching this one. You leave these on. So now we're going to re-enter this bottom peg right here where the cap is, and you're going to grab the very top 2 and you're going to loop it to the left, and then you're going to grab the other top 2 and mine go to the right, and then you're looping the remaining 2 and they should go forward. Then you're going to reach in here and you're going to be pushing all these bands back and grabbing the bottom 2 right here. So you're going to push all these bands back and grab those bottom 2 and loop it forward. And the same thing on this side. Push everything back, grab the bottom 2 and loop forward. Reach in the middle Grab these two, loop forward. Now reach into this one, push those triangle bands back, bottom two, loop forward. Reach in here. So we loop those two, and now this one. And just remember that as you loop, you want to make sure you're pushing the triangle band back. So we loop these forward, the middle, and now we have this last one right here. You want to make sure that you have a teardrop shape on each row. And then the remaining band is these two to the middle, and then reach in, grab these three, and loop forward. So now you can take your hook and slowly pop it off. And that is part of your shell. And this is what it should look like. And now we're going to make the rest of the hermit. And it's going to be the same thing like this. We're going to make the bottom shell and then we stitch it together with the legs. So the next step is grab the color that matches your legs, because that's the color that your hermit crab's face is going to be with the eyes. So I'm going back to my tan bands. I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to place two here, and two here. And then I'm going to place two here, and two here. So we did 2, 2, 2, and 2, and then 2 here, and 2 more here on this side. And then for the middle, you're going to go down 2 times as well. So 1, 2, and 1, 2. Using the same color again, grab 2 bands, and place it from the middle to this peg. Again, from the middle to this peg. Now you're going to switch back to the color of your shell. So switch back to the color that you want that you had your shell, and you're going to place 2 here. And 2 here. And you're going to go down 5 times, including this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on both sides. You can do that. And now the middle. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You go down 6 times for the middle. If you wanted to add color to this one too, you can do that too. I don't do it only because it's the under of the shell, so you're not really going to see it much, but you can. Like on this one, on the entire shell, I did these colors, the black and the white and the gray, but on this one I just did white underneath and then the shell on top. So again, that's your choice. If you want to do that, you can add that now. So you should have went down 5 on this row, 5 here, and then 6 in the middle. And then on these two, place 2 bands there, and on these two. And you're going to do the same thing. Push these down because we are adding a top layer again. First you're going to take 2 bands and you're going to place 2 here. And then 2 here. And then another 2 here. And 2 here. And the final 2 here. So you place 5 overlapping bands. Now you're going to do this side. So I placed the 5 here, 5 here. Just push these down. And you're going to take a single band again and wrap it around this peg 3 times again. And then another single band wrapped around this peg 3 times. And you're going to place the triangle bands the same way we place on the other one. So you would place a single from here to here, and then a single from here to here. And the same thing, a single from here to here, and a single from here to here. And then same thing here, and here, here, and here. And I did the same thing yet again. I'm going to take off those cap bands because I keep forgetting you should put the triangle bands first. So triangle band here and triangle band here. And then you can place these back. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3. So we just remove those cap bands so that we can place the triangle band. And then you can replace it and wrap it around 1, 2, 3. So now that we've done that, we're going to do the same thing we did before. And I'm going to place this on my hook so I can use the other one. And again, we're going to grab the the cap band and grab the and you're pushing that triangle band back too. That's why I was thinking of that. So you're pushing all those bands back and grabbing these top 2 right here. So push everything else except for those top 2 and loop that forward. And then reach in here. Again, grab those top 2 and loop forward. These top 2, loop forward. These top 2 and these top 2. And then you can push that down. And then you can do the same thing on this side. Reach in with a cap thing and that band, the triangle band, and the top 2. Loop that forward. Loop this forward. So now that you have looped them all, make sure that you've done it correctly. You should have a teardrop shape. Again, making sure that you don't remove these 2 or the bottom 2, and that you start at the second one and you pop this one off and place it on the outside, and pop these 2 and place it on the outside, and also making sure that the triangle band is over the pegs and leaving this one on. Same thing on this side. Pop off these 2. And this one. And this one. And leaving that bottom one on and the top one on. And now we're going to add the arms and the little legs, and the eyes. So let me show you first how to do the eyes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do it with beads, and then I will show you how to do it with a band. So if you're using bands, the first thing you're going to do is grab a single black band and you're going to wrap it around your hook 4 times. You can wrap it around 2 times first and then twist it and go through it again, and that'll keep it a lot neater, a nicer knot. And then you're going to grab a color that matches your hermit crab's body and legs, and that's going to be a single band, and you can wrap it around 2 times and then pull it, and then you're going to transfer the black single band onto that doubled over band, the cap band. And then you should have 2 loops, and then take your hook and go through the other loop. And then you're going to do that again. A single band, wrap it around 2 times, twist it, go back through, take the color that matches your legs, wrap it around 2 times. It's just a cap, it's just neater when you wrap it around that way. And then transfer these onto that single band, that doubled over band, and then take your hook and grab the other loop. And now these are your eyes. And then you're going to take, again, the same color that matches your crab's legs, and it's a single band, and you're going to pull these onto that single band. And then you would place these from here to here, but for now place it to the side on a hook, or you can even place it to the side. It should not come apart, because we're going to add the legs first and then the eyes are last. So that's how you would do your eyes if you have no beads. If you do have beads, I use a piece of dental floss. If you don't have dental floss, you can still, if you have a bigger bead, you can do a bigger bead if you want, but usually they have really tiny eyes. So what I do is I take the little bead, I put a piece of dental floss through it, then I take my band that matches the legs, I double it over, I place the dental floss through that doubled over band, and then I place the other end of the dental floss through my bead, and I pull, and if you pull you can see that there should be this loop on this side, and of course mine is fighting with me. But there we go. So there. So now I have both loops, and I can grab one safely and then the other safely. And that's how I do it with the bead. I'm going to do that again. And if you don't have dental floss, you know what I've done before? I've actually used a band. You can take a band and cut it. So you can take a band and cut it and use it as a dental floss. And you would take your bead, put your string through your bead, and make sure you hold it tight at the end. And then take the end. First, wrap your band around itself, the one that matches your crab, and then grab the other band, pull it through, and then put the end through your bead. And this is good if you don't have dental floss available, it still works. And then I'm going to pull, pinch these tight though, make sure you don't ever lose grip on either one. Pull it, find the opening to the other one, get rid of that piece of string, and you should have 2 loops. Grab this one and grab this one. So if you don't have dental floss, you can still do this. So now that we have our eyes on our hook, again, take a skin colored band, and not skin color, the color that matches your crab, and then you are pulling these onto a single band. And I'm going to place mine to the side, and again, I don't think they're going to come off, they're too tight so they don't come off. So now we're going to add the legs and the claw and all that other good stuff. So the first thing we're going to do is add one leg on this top peg right here, one leg here, a leg here, and one here. Then you're going to add your big claw right here on top of this one. And then you are going to add your little claw on top of this one. And now you can take the eyes and you're going to place it on these two right here, the very first two. On these two, and you're going to separate the eyes. So move them to the left and to the right. And then open up the band in the middle and place one band underneath this peg. So one band should be resting underneath it and one should be resting above it. And now you're going to take the body or the shell, so you should have 3 loops here and 3 here. And if yours is already turning up like that, you should see like a little dent inside. You're going to have that facing up. So it looks like a little cup. You're going to have that facing up. And you're going to place that on this peg right here. And then grab the color again that matches the legs and place a triangle band, a single, on these 3 right here. And that's the only triangle band you're going to need because these already have them. And now we can loop. So you're going to reach in under the shell and you can pull on it and hold on to it. And you're going to grab the first 2 that you see and make sure they are being pulled at the right side, and mine are going to the left. And then the next 2, and then the final 2. So you have looped these 3, then enter this peg and you're grabbing all the bottom rows. So you're going to grab these 2 on the bottom and you're going to loop that forward. And then you're going to grab these 2 on the bottom here and loop this forward, then the middle and loop forward. So we looped these 3. Enter here again, grab in the bottom 2, loop forward, loop forward, and always pushing the triangle bands back as you enter each peg. So we looped 1, 2, 3, loop these, so you should have looped these 3 forward, and then loop these, and then reach in here and loop this one to this peg right here, this one to the middle, and this one to this one. So that's it for the brown bands. Then you're going to reach in and you're going to grab the band that's right here. So it's the top 2, and you're going to loop it to the middle, and you should have remaining band on the bottom, 2 bands. Loop these 2 to the middle, and then enter the pegs yet again and loop the remaining 2 forward and these 2 forward. Then enter this peg, push everything back, and make sure you're grabbing just the bottom 2 and looping that forward. Now over here is the eye band right here. You can't see it on mine because it blends in, but you should have the eye band here too. Make sure you push the eye band back, grab the bottom 2, and loop forward. reach in here where the leg is, push all those pieces back and just grab the bottom two and loop forward. Same thing here, push the bottom two, loop the bottom two. So we have looped these two, and now we're going to loop the last two to the middle. And this has the claw and the legs. You're going to push all that back and just grab the bottom two and gently loop it to the middle. And the same thing here, pushing everything back. And if you feel like you don't know which bands you're grabbing, you can move your loom to the side and see if you're grabbing the right two. Because even for me, sometimes I just don't know if I'm grabbing them. And to the middle. So now you're going to do a slip knot, and I'm going to do it with 2 bands, just to make sure that it's extra secure. And take your hook and go through all these. Take 2 bands, slide it up and through, place both loops on your hook, take the front loop, place it over, and pull, not too tight. Now take them off your loom slowly, and we do have one more step left. It's the stitching of the side, and then your hermit crab will be done. So to do the stitching, you're going to need your color that matches your shell, so you can grab those. You can pop the eyes of your hermit crab up, and you can go underneath your hermit and grab those 2 slip knot bands and pull them through, or if you want, you can wrap it around one of the legs. You should not be able to see it. It usually blends in. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do some stitching. And I will show you. So you're going to take, here's the cap band, and it should go like that. You're going to take, now if you used a lot of colors like I did, it might get a little confusing. So here are the first 2 of the brown bands of the color that's before it's touching the color of the hermit. You're going to grab the second pair, and you're going to grab the outside. So here's these 2 and these 2. This is the second set, but you're only going to grab 2, and it's the bottom one right here. You're going to grab these 2 on this row, and you are going to try to match it to these 2 right here. So it should be these 2 right here. I'm sorry, nope. So you grab these 2 right here, and then you're going to grab the top on these 2. So it's the top here, and it's the bottom here. And you're going to place it on your hook. And it's kind of the way we stitch the luggage together. You're going to grab a single band, and you're going to pull it through while keeping this on your finger. Pull it through and keep this on your hook. Then you're going to reach in here and grab these 2 right here that are on the bottom, and these 2 that are on the top. And then place that loop onto your hook like that. Grab another single band, slide it through, keeping it on your finger and your hook. Grab the next 2 and the next 2. And then placing that loop that was on our finger back on our hook. Take another single band, slide it through, grab these 2 and these 2, and place that loop on there. Another band, slide it through, and grab any 2 in the back, because these are all confusing anyway. So just buy any 2 from the bottom, any 2 from the top, and then place that loop that was on our finger back on the hook. And then finally, the last one, slide it through, and again grabbing any two. But this time you're going to take that loop and you're going to pull it through because you're going to create a slip knot. So we have both loops now. You pulled it through and you create a slip knot because we're tying it off here. And you're going to do the same thing now on this side. So I'm going to take the top two here. You can even start here if you want to. It really depends where you want to start. So the top two here, and the bottom here. And you're only grabbing two from each. I grabbed three there by accident. You're only grabbing two from each side. So 2 and 2. Then grab a single band, slide it through, keep it on your finger while you grab the other two here and the other two here, and then place that loop on there. Grab another, slide it through, grab these two and these two, replace the loop. Another single, slide it through, grab these two and these two. Another single, slide it through, and you can just grab any two that you want in the back. It's not specific once we get to the back. And then another two, another single, slide it through. But this time, just grab any two if you want. Grab that single. So we went through two only. Grab the single band that's on our finger, slide it through. You should have both of them now, and then create a slip knot. It's just to tie it off. And then if you want, you can turn this inside out. You can take your hook and you can go inside the shell and grab those two slip knots and just pull them inside the shell somewhere. Or you can thread them through. So I'm just going to go through the back actually and then grab that and slide it through and hide it. And the same here. Go through some bands underneath. Grab that single slip knot when I grab it and hide it. And so this is your hermit crab. You can stretch it out a little. And what you do is you just wrap it around his body. And then that's what he looks like. So you just take it. This is when he's out of his shell. And if you want to put him in his shell, you just take it and you wrap it around him. And then he's inside of his shell. And that's how I did these. And it's a little time consuming, but I think in the end it is worth it. It is cute, and this one looks more realistic because of the shell color. But if you want a colorful one, then that would be cool too. And thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.